She watched from her window as the neighbor's teenage son ripped open her package, pulling out the custom-made chemicals worth over $3,000. This wasn't the first time, or the second, or even the 10th. For months, the wealthy family next door had been stealing her livelihood, laughing in her face when confronted. When they stole the rare compound she'd ordered to complete her cancer research project, something inside her snapped. They wanted to take what was hers? Fine. She'd give them something they couldn't give back. A bright, permanent reminder of their greed that the whole world would see. Dr. Maya Rhodes slammed her fist against the wall. Her security camera had captured it all in 4K clarity. The Miller family's 17-year-old son casually strolling onto her porch, stealing the package she'd waited 3 weeks for, and strutting away like he owned the world. The timestamp read 2:17 p.m. The package contained specialized reagents from Switzerland that cost her nearly a third of her monthly income. Maya wasn't just any chemist. At 34, she'd already patented 2 groundbreaking formulas and left a prestigious university position to develop affordable cancer treatment options. Working from her converted home lab meant receiving critical supplies directly to her door, supplies that kept disappearing. The Millers lived in the massive colonial-style house next door. Richard Miller was a hedge fund manager. His wife Victoria ran 3 charity foundations while treating service workers like dirt. Their son Connor and daughter Ashley attended the most expensive private school in the state, driving matching luxury cars their parents bought for their 16th birthdays. Maya rewound the footage, watching Connor's smug face for the 5th time as he swiped her package. Her hands trembled. This wasn't opportunistic theft. This was targeted harassment. 6 months ago, Maya had refused Victoria's request to analyze the competitor's skincare line Victoria was trying to duplicate for her new beauty company. When Maya explained that reverse engineering commercial products without permission was illegal, Victoria's smile had turned cold. "You clearly don't understand how things work in this neighborhood," Victoria had said. "People who help us thrive, people who don't, find it difficult to live here." The package theft started the next day. Maya tried everything. She filed police reports. The responding officer was Richard's golf buddy. She installed a lockbox. Somehow, deliveries never made it inside. She confronted the Millers directly, camera footage in hand. Richard had laughed in her face. "That could be anyone, and even if it wasn't, who do you think people will believe? The respected Miller family or the strange woman cooking up God knows what in her garage?" Maya had left their doorstep humiliated, the neighbors watching from their windows. Yesterday's theft was the final straw. The package contained modified enzymes crucial for her research on affordable cancer treatments. The samples had taken months to synthesize and cost thousands to ship. Now they were gone, probably tossed in the trash once Connor realized it wasn't something he could sell or use. Maya sat in her lab, surrounded by beakers and specialized equipment. Her eyes landed on the formula she'd been developing as a side project, a revolutionary dye compound originally created for medical imaging. It was completely non-toxic but had an unusual property. Once absorbed through skin contact, it created a vibrant color change that couldn't be washed away, covered by makeup, or hidden by clothing. The effect would fade naturally, but only after 3 to 4 weeks. The dye was also heat-activated, meaning it could be applied invisibly and would only develop when exposed to specific temperatures. Maya's mind raced with possibilities. A plan formed, elegant, perfectly legal, and devastatingly effective. Over the next 48 hours, Maya barely slept. She created 3 distinct formulations of her dye compound, each calibrated to trigger at different heat thresholds and produce different colors. One would activate at high heat, like a hot shower. Another would develop under cold temperatures, like air conditioning. The third would activate gradually with normal body temperature. Together, they'd create a rainbow effect impossible to hide. Maya prepared 3 packages, each designed to appeal to different members of the Miller family. For Connor, she created a convincing replica of limited edition designer sneakers packaging. Inside was a brochure coated with her compound, along with shredded paper that would disperse microscopic dye particles when handled. For Ashley, she prepared what appeared to be an expensive makeup collection from a viral brand that had a 6-month wait list. The compact and brushes were all treated with the temperature-sensitive formula. For Victoria and Richard, she designed what looked like documents from an exclusive investment opportunity, knowing Richard's obsession with status investments. Every page was infused with the compound, requiring multiple touches to review the contents. Each package included official-looking warnings about wearing the enclosed protective gloves, which Maya deliberately made too small to use comfortably. The Millers' arrogance would ensure they'd ignore the warnings. The timing couldn't be more perfect. In exactly 5 days, the Millers would be hosting the annual neighborhood Gala, an extravagant event where Victoria paraded her wealth and status before the entire community and several local celebrities. The dye would be in full effect by then. On Wednesday morning, Maya placed the first package on her porch and drove to a cafe with a clear view of her front door. Within 20 minutes, her phone pinged with a security alert. She watched as Connor jogged up to her porch, grabbed the sneaker box, and hurried away. Maya smiled for the first time in months. Phase 1 complete. Now she just had to wait. Thursday morning, Maya placed the second package on her porch. This one, designed for Ashley, perfectly replicated that viral makeup brand the teen had been desperate to get her hands on. Maya watched from her car as Ashley's white convertible screeched to a halt minutes later. The teenager snatched the package without hesitation and sped off, victory written across her face. That afternoon, Maya delivered the final trap. This package appeared to contain confidential investment documents from an exclusive medical startup about to go public. Just as predicted, Richard grabbed it during his 5:45 p.m. mail check, barely glancing at the security camera as he tucked it under his arm. All 3 packages were now in play. Maya couldn't help but smile as she imagined what would unfold next. At 6:30 a.m. Friday, a shriek erupted from the Miller house. Maya peered through her blinds to see Ashley standing in the driveway staring at her hands in horror. Even from a distance, the vivid purple spreading across the girl's fingers was unmistakable. Ashley frantically rubbed her hands against her designer jeans, only making it worse. Victoria rushed outside, grabbed her daughter's hands without thinking, and demanded answers. "What did you do?" "Nothing. I just woke up like this," Ashley sobbed. "It wasn't there last night." "Did you use some cheap product?" "I told you." "No. Only that exclusive collection that was delivered." Victoria's head snapped toward Maya's house, suspicion flashing across her face. Maya stepped back, heart pounding but satisfaction growing. Victoria couldn't prove anything. Later that day, Connor returned from basketball practice wearing gloves despite the warm weather. Maya had specifically formulated his dye to react with sweat and heat, conditions perfect for maximum color development during sports. Under those gloves, his hands were undoubtedly a brilliant electric blue. By evening, Victoria was pacing on her lawn, phone pressed to her ear, free hand now showing distinct patches of green. Maya had engineered each formula differently. Connor's activated with heat and sweat, Ashley's with cold water, like morning face washing, and Victoria and Richard's with normal body oils and ambient temperature. Saturday morning brought Richard pounding at Maya's door, his hands now a vibrant orange red. "I know you did this," he shouted. "Fix this now. The gala is tonight. Do you understand what you've done?" Maya remained silent, watching through her security app as he threatened lawsuits and professional ruin. After 10 minutes of ranting, he stormed off, leaving colorful fingerprints on her white door. They had suspicions, but no proof. The packages were untraceable, and the dye compound was Maya's own creation, unknown to the scientific community. They couldn't connect her to their rainbow transformation. Throughout the day, delivery trucks arrived at the Miller house, emergency clothing orders attempting to cover their condition. Maya had anticipated this. The dye was engineered to spread with body heat, moving beyond hands to wrists, arms, and eventually faces, especially around the hairline where people unconsciously touch. By afternoon, the Millers were frantically preparing for the gala they couldn't cancel. Victoria had spent months promoting her role as hostess, and too many influential people were attending. They'd have to show up and face the consequences. At 7 p.m., Maya settled in with wine and pulled up the Neighborhood Association's live stream. The Millers' expansive backyard glittered with twinkling lights and elegant decorations. Everything was perfect except the hosts, who were conspicuously absent, despite guests already arriving. Finally, at 7:30, they made their entrance. Maya nearly choked on her wine at the sight. Victoria wore long white gloves extending past her elbows, but the green dye had spread further, creating visible splotches around her wrist and neck. Her heavy makeup couldn't hide the patches near her hairline. Richard was in full tuxedo despite the warm evening, with gloves that might have worked if the orange-red hadn't already reached his face. Connor wore a hoodie with sleeves pulled down despite the formal occasion, while Ashley had wrapped bandages around her purple fingers, claiming an injury when asked. Guests reacted with confusion, then poorly concealed shock followed by whispers. No one mentioned the Millers' appearance directly, but the camera caught everyone staring when they thought no one was looking. The trap was sprung, the thieves were marked, and the best part was still to come. At 8:15 p.m., disaster struck. Victoria was presenting the charity donation totals when the heat from the outdoor lighting intensified the dye reaction. As she spoke, vivid green streaks visibly spread up her neck onto her face. The camera zoomed in just as she realized what was happening, her expression shifting from poised smile to absolute horror. We've raised over 50,000. Victoria's voice faltered as she noticed everyone staring. She touched her face instinctively, smearing makeup and revealing more green underneath. Richard rushed to her side, grabbing her arm, exposing his bright orange hands as his gloves rode up. The Halloween-like contrast of his orange hands against Victoria's green arm drew audible gasps from the crowd. "We need to take a brief intermission," Richard announced through a strained smile. "Technical difficulties. Please enjoy the refreshments." The camera followed as the Miller family huddled together, arguing intensely. Connor had given up hiding his condition, hands now fully exposed. Brilliant blue, exactly as Maya had designed. Ashley was crying, tears causing her makeup to run and reveal purple patches across her face. Victoria suddenly noticed the camera and marched over, green hand reaching for the lens. "Turn that off immediately!" The screen went black momentarily, but audio continued. "Everyone out! The gala is over!" When video resumed, confused guests were being ushered toward the exits. The reality TV star Victoria had bragged about inviting was discreetly taking photos with her phone. Several guests were doing the same. By morning, images of the Miller family had spread across local social media. Someone created a meme comparing them to a box of crayons. The local news reported that the prominent Miller family had suffered an unexplained cosmetic incident at their charity gala. Maya's doorbell rang Sunday morning. She expected an enraged Richard or Victoria, but instead found Mrs. Patel from across the street holding a coffee cake. Once inside, the older woman's expression shifted to frank admiration. "I don't know how you did it, but the entire neighborhood knows the Millers got exactly what they deserved." "I don't know what you're talking about," Maya replied carefully. Mrs. Patel smiled knowingly. "Of course not. Just like you don't know they've been stealing packages all over the neighborhood for years. Not just yours." Maya's surprise must have shown. "Oh, yes," Mrs. Patel continued. "They took Mr. Johnson's heart medication last month, and my grandson's birthday present disappeared. We all installed cameras, filed reports. Nothing happened." "That's terrible," Maya said. "Indeed, which is why everyone is so impressed with your colorful solution. Not that anyone knows it was you, of course." Mrs. Patel winked. Monday afternoon, a delivery truck arrived at Maya's house. The driver unloaded a stack of boxes, all her missing packages from the past 6 months, including her specialized research materials. They were opened but largely intact. Attached was a handwritten note. "We found these delivered to us by mistake. Sincerely, the Millers." That evening, Maya spotted Richard loading suitcases into their SUV. Victoria emerged wearing a wide-brimmed hat and scarf covering her still, green face. Connor and Ashley followed in hoodies despite the warm weather. The neighborhood gossip network reported they were taking an extended vacation until their condition resolved. At least 3 more weeks by Maya's calculations. 2 days later, Maya received a certified letter containing a check for $15,000 and a brief message. "Dr. Rhodes, we believe this covers the value of any inconvenience our delivery mix-ups may have caused. We trust this resolves all outstanding issues between us. R. Miller." The police officer who had dismissed her complaints called to inform her they would be increasing patrols in the neighborhood to address package theft concerns. Maya used some of the money to host a barbecue for neighbors. As they gathered in her backyard, sharing stories of their own packages suddenly being found and returned by the Millers, Maya felt true community for the first time since moving to the neighborhood. Mrs. Patel raised her glass. "To good neighbors and to those who teach the bad ones valuable lessons." Everyone cheered, looking toward Maya with knowing smiles. 1 month later, the Millers returned. Their colorful condition had faded, but their attitude had changed permanently. They avoided community events and, most importantly, never took another package that didn't belong to them. Maya's returned research materials allowed her to complete her cancer project ahead of schedule. 6 months later, her affordable treatment protocol entered clinical trials. Her name featured in medical journals nationwide. Sometimes, when she sees Victoria hurrying to her car, head down to avoid neighbors, Maya smiles to herself. Some lessons leave a mark long after the colors fade. Life has a way of delivering exactly what people deserve. Sometimes it just needs a little help from chemistry. If you've ever dealt with package thieves or entitled neighbors, hit that subscribe button now. Would you have handled it differently? Share your stories in the comments. Remember, the best revenge isn't just sweet, it's colorful.